So, for more on the midterms, let's bring in CBSN political reporter Caitlin Huey-Burns. Good to see you.
Good morning. Happy Election Day.
Happy Election Day.
Finally.
I know, finally, we're here. So, give me best case scenario for the Democrats and best case scenario for Republicans.
Well, best case scenario for Republicans is that they hold on to power.
And somebody said to me, even if it's by only one seat in the House, that's a win.
It is a win. It makes a really big difference given the national environment and given that midterms are usually referendums on the party in power, which are Republicans. Now, Democrats are poised, or could be poised, to have a big night, of course. We're talking a lot about how Democrats could potentially take over the House. There are a lot of governor's races that Democrats see as their way to rebuild the party after 2016. Remember, after 2016, there was a lot of discussion about what the Democratic Party looked like in the United States, given that they had lost so many seats at the local level. These governor's races provide them a way back to power in a lot of these states, and, as you mentioned, that critical census and redistricting that comes afterwards.
And the other thing about the governors, let's not forget that generally presidents of the United States come from governorships, right? We've had Barack Obama, he was a senator, but many presidents prior to Barack Obama were former governors.
Right, and because there are so many issues that are decided at the state level when it comes to really all these things that affect your life. So governor's race is critically important, and what I'm watching for these governor's races are in the Midwest and the Rust Belt, these places that that Donald Trump won, but that Democrats are seeming to make strides. Is that temporary? Is that just about 2018, or are we seeing a longer trend here?
Okay, so let's get back to Congress, though.
Yep.
So the conventional wisdom is that it's probably more likely that the Republicans will keep the Senate, and you know, there's a possibility that the Democrats will take the House. Why are their paths different, the two parties in the two houses?
I've been calling this kind of the tale of two elections tonight, because the path for Democrats to take over the House runs through suburban districts where either Hillary Clinton won or Trump won by a small margin, these swing districts where women that we've been talking about all cycle are going to be decisive in determining that path. The Senate races, the competitive Senate races, run through red states or states that the president won in 2016 and places where he's overwhelmingly popular. And that's why you've seen him on the campaign trail over the past several weeks in these states where he is popular and where he did win. And that's where Republicans hope to flip a few seats. So we're looking at two different maps here. And we're also looking at two elections insofar as the party's closing arguments in this race. We're seeing Republicans and Donald Trump really hammer home the issue of immigration. They think that that moves their base voters, and it was effective in 2016. The president believes it'll be effective in 2018. Democrats, meanwhile, are laser focused on health care, thinking that not only talking about coverage for pre-existing conditions, but also making it part of their economic pitch, because it involves so much of your pocketbook and revolves around those kind of kitchen table issues, how you're going to pay for health care, rising costs of premiums, how you're going to factor that into your daily life. So again, two very different campaigns being run by both parties, by each party, and we'll see which wins out.
So the president has suggested, and in fact has clearly stated, that he believes that this election is a referendum on him.
Right.
The Republicans, you point out that he's been talking about immigration. They would have actually preferred he talk about the economy, which is humming, which is doing well, but he chose not to. Can that motivate Republicans, the fact that it's a referendum on Trump, and can it also motivate Democrats?
I am so fascinated by the way in which the economy does not seem to be centerpiece for the president. His numbers don't match the way that we're seeing the economy hum on paper. And there, you know, it depends what kind of Republican you are and where you are. If you, again, are running for Senate in a state that the president is popular, you're going to hitch your wagon to him and talk about the things that he's been talking about. If you're in some of these swing districts, you know, South Florida, for example, right across the river in New Jersey, those California races we were talking about, they are going to want to focus on the economy and on kind of pocketbook issues and not so much the national theme. So it really depends what kind of Republican you are and where you are. But the president seeming to think that immigration and other kind of cultural touchstones do more to move voters than the economy. It was fascinating to hear him talking about the economy is not that exciting. And I always kind of compare it to, your utility company. You don't really call to say, hey, you're doing a great job. And that's how Republicans are kind of thinking about this. They know that voters don't necessarily show up to say thank you. Yeah. So do they show up to express anger or fear? Those are big motivators for both sides in this election.
It totally seems like the president was banking on fear, for sure.
Absolutely.
Caitlin Huey-Burns, thank you so much. I think we're going to talk to you later, hopefully.
I think so.
Until 2 o'clock in the morning.
More to talk
Caitlin
about.
will be here until results come in from California.
We'll be watching. Thanks.